Welcome to a video discussing the major ruling changes for Vanguard. These rulings will be implemented in Japan on May 2018 and will come to the English version on June 2018. With that out of the way, let's begin. The act of performing a mulligan has changed. You now place the cards you wish to return from your hand to the bottom of your deck, then draw the same amount before shuffling your deck. When performing a G assist, you no longer need to remove 2 cards from your G zone. You only need to remove 2 cards from your hand instead. When guarding, you can now call units to the Guardian Circle regardless of your Vanguard's grade. Meaning you can now guard with grade 2 or higher units, while you're on a grade 1 or lower Vanguard, making cards like Dust less effective. You can now stride if your Vanguard was a grade 3 unit at the beginning of that turn regardless of your opponent's Vanguard grade, or if both players' Vanguards are on grade 3. Once per turn abilities can now be used, as long as they haven't been resolved this turn. As an example, we'll be using Nitro's. Before, her GB2 ability had to be resolved on the first retire that happens, because it will trigger her ability and put it on standby. Hence, regardless if you resolve her GB2 ability or not, her GB2 will no longer be usable. Now, her GB2 doesn't need to be resolved on the first retire that happens. Her ability will trigger and put it on standby. However, if you decide not to resolve it, the ability will stay active and can still be used upon the next retire. Now let's discuss imaginary gifts. When you ride to a unit with a imaginary gift icon, you get one of the designated gifts: Excel, Force, or Protect. These gifts are not actual cards and act more like tokens or counters, but it's highly recommended that you use card proxies. There isn't a gift zone, so put them in a place that won't disrupt the field until you need to use them. You may bring as many gift indicators as possible, but they must be all the same for each type of gift. You don't need to reveal them before the game starts. If you use imaginary gifts in card form, you may use sleeves, but they must be different from your main deck. You are not required to have gift indicators and can still use the gift abilities as long as you tell your opponent. However, it may be subject to a penalty at official tournaments depending on the judges and organizers of the tournament. Even if your Vanguard changes or gets retired, the imaginary gifts you gained won't go anywhere and will remain until the end of the game. If the Vanguard that bestows an imaginary gift also has an on-place ability, activating the gift will take priority. Gaining a imaginary gifts has no limit. Power given by Force or Excel imaginary gifts are not counted as increased power due to card abilities. Imaginary gifts will not be removed from Ultimate Striding GZ. Protect imaginary gifts are considered as a card in hand and on the Guardian Circle, but it does not have a grade. It can be retired from the Guardian Circle by using Die Kaiser, can be used against guard restricting units like Maelstrom, and can be used as a discard cost. However, it can't be used for a cost that requires to discard a unit with an indicated grade or use to guard if opponent has an ability preventing you from using cards from your hand. And here are some Q&A. How does front triggers work with Ultima? Ultima can't change it to choose all your units because front triggers does not have choose in its ruling. How does front triggers work with Brand? Nothing happens. Front triggers isn't specified on Brand's text. I paid Dragonic overlord the Ace's act ability twice and gains the once per turn ability twice. Can I restand the Ace twice? Yes. After the first attack, you can resolve one of the 2 once per turn ability the Ace gained and not resolve the other one. At the end of the resolution of the first restand ability, the second ability to restand will stay active because it was not yet resolved. Hence, at the end of the second attack by the Ace, you can resolve the second once per turn ability to perform a third attack. If this is still confusing, go see the Nitro's example from earlier. Is the wording "this skill cannot be used for the rest of the turn" considered a once per turn ability? Yes, they are considered the same as this is the reminder text used prior to once per turn existing in GBT02. If you play the old triggers along with the new plus 10k power triggers, how much power will the old triggers provide? The old trigger will still only provide plus 5k power. And that concludes this ruling changes video. Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments how you'll quit the card game, because old school Vanguard is coming to mobile like the entitled child that you are.